Max, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what made you choose marketing instead of sales or any other department?
It's funny because when I graduated college, I was always under the impression that in order to get into marketing, I had to go through sales.
Mm,
And I had graduated, it was actually at my 4th of July block party. And I ended up talking to my neighbor, and he's like, "So you graduated, I got a degree in marketing." He's like, "What do you want to do now?" And I was like, "Well, I want to go in marketing, but figured I'd have to go and get a sales job first." And he's like, "Why?" And I was like, "I don't know. It just kind of seems like it's hard to find marketing positions, especially entry level." He's like, "No, it's not. Work for me." And
that's
yeah,
simple.
the following day, we went out to lunch and kind of established what I knew and quickly understood that really understand where marketing was at that point, everything that I had learned in school was just a drop in a huge bucket. I
Mm,
knew so little, and everything in marketing was changing so rapidly with the addition of mobile. Um, and everybody was still playing catch up with just the .com phase. That as soon as smartphones were in everybody's pocket, it was no one really knew what was the right way to go about it, and everybody was kind of looking at all these different resources to try and figure out, who figured it out, who's got it down.
right. That's interesting. So, you're currently a digital marketing manager at WeVideo, right? Which is
Yep.
a video editing software located in Mountain View, California, right? Or at least headquartered in
Correct.
Mountain
Yeah,
View.
right. Kind of right in the heart of Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Google.
So, before being a digital marketing manager, you were just a marketing manager, right? Now, marketing manager, digital marketing manager, I mean, what's the difference in it? Are there a lot of similarities or is there like a huge difference?
I I always kind of take titles with a grain of salt. Um, I mean, I guess the big emphasis would be a digital marketing manager is much more practical base, as in can implement the stuff discussed, as opposed to being much more like, okay, we're kicking off a campaign and then passing it off to a team.
Mm,
Digital marketing manager, I would think, uh, is completely capable of kind of doing that entire campaign by himself. For
right.
the most part, at least familiar with the tools. Granted, when you've got a team who have different people who all specialize in a certain thing, it's foolish to not take advantage of that. But I think having a basic understanding of kind of like, okay, this is what we would do to create the images or media for this promotion. This is how we would implement the back end, kind of looking at the analytics side of things. This is how we're going to do email and social media for it, and have at least at the very least a basic understanding of each different platform.
Right, right. So with digital marketing, do you manage a team yourself?
Um, at times, I mean, yeah,
Or is it more like a hybrid?
I would say it's kind of like a hybrid. I mean, here at WeVideo, I have my marketing director, and that is like a trusted resource I can always come back and go to for advice and help if needed. But there are certain kind of smaller projects where I'll just kick it off from start to finish. And aside from like a quick consulting with my director, be like,
Hmm.
hey, this is what I was thinking of doing. She's like, sounds great. Then good to go. And at that point, it's me kicking it off with our creative team, and then at that point, they all kind of go in different directions to get their portion of the project done. And then it usually comes back to me to put it all together and implement it.
Nice. Do you also do social media marketing or is that somebody else that handles that?
I do a portion of it. So I just do the organic side of WeVideo's LinkedIn, as well as kind of daily go through our uh, Facebook business channel.
Hmm.
Um, but each kind of, we have a couple of different people who each kind of have a portion of social media that they're responsible for, and
Mm,
then we actually have another agency who takes care of our paid advertising on social.
got you, got you. What's your favorite part about digital marketing? Because everyone has a favorite part, right? Like for me, it's SEO, just because I have a lot of experience with SEO. it's funny. I don't really advertise that I do SEO with my
I
clients.
I love SEO as well. I think that that had a big part in helping me get to where I am today. Because I always kind of thought of, I mean, marketing's huge, and I think the probably my favorite part is just how diverse it is, and how like every day being a digital marketing manager, there's something different to do. It's not, I'm not constantly looking at analytics. I'm not constantly retweeting or doing stuff on social media. I'm not constantly writing a blog. Um, I
Hmm.
kind of dab in all of that, and that keeps things interesting. Um, as well as I get in front of the camera, which I love.
You
Uh,
are the face of WeVideo. When I look at the videos, I'm like, this is the guy for WeVideo. I almost mistake you for the owner.
oh, that's flattering.
So, video or writing, which one do you like better? I'm assuming video, right?
Let me say video because there's like a little more expression, I guess, that
Hmm.
goes into it. I mean, the whole saying, like, pictures 1,000 words. So does that make video like a million? Um, but
That's interesting.
I mean, there's also a lot of writing that goes into video. I mean, generally, you want to have a script or at least a plan set out, and there's times where it's just kind of raw, organic, like from the heart, from the mind stream of consciousness stuff.
Right.
But yeah, no, when the lights come on, the camera starts. It's just kind of fun, a little exciting, and the more you
Totally.
do it, the more comfortable you are in front of it. Yeah, it's a good time. But I don't get me wrong. I mean, I back when I first started my career right out of college, I was kind of didn't a whole lot, didn't really know what to do. And my boss at the time was, okay, like you're gonna write, you're gonna get good at writing. And I wrote one article for him, and he's like, oh, you're actually pretty good at this. And then I
Mm.
got to the point where I was actually doing stuff similar to this, where I would reach out to different small Martech companies and reach out to their manager or sales ambassador
Mm.
and do a kind of half-hour Zoom call and ask them kind of like what, how do you like your job, and then kind of migrate toward the business, like what makes you unique, what solution are you offering, what's your competitive advantage, how do you differentiate yourselves from others,
Right.
and then I write a blog post on it, and I was doing that essentially once a week, and that got me kind of proficient in writing. And it wasn't until I think it was CES 2016 I attended and was going to all these different booths and talked with my boss after. It was like, man, this is just drinking from a fire hose, overwhelming seeing all these different technology vendors. It's, how do you compete with other professionals who are writing and doing this for years? You need to have like a different take on it. So I kind of
Right.
pitched the idea. I was like, look, I'm a millennial, and that was during the time when you couldn't go, 2 sentences without hearing the word millennial. It was a hot topic buzzword, and I was like, I am just going to embrace it and brand myself Millennial Max, and we'll have my take on CES from a millennial's perspective.
Mm.
And that blog, I mean, at the time I was getting decent traction with other stuff I'd written, but that blew up, and I
Very
got a
nice.
couple 100,000 views on that, and then it was actually a couple months later I was at a uh, marketing course that my boss was teaching, and I was there kind of helping along. And a guy had asked, "Oh, I heard you write. What? Send me some of your stuff. Maybe I could get you a job writing for CMO.com." So I like during this session, I sent him 3 articles I had written, and the first one was the millennials' perspective on CES, and he in the middle of the course while we're all kind of trying to be quiet on our computers, he's like, "That's you? I've actually read this already."
Wow.
Um, and then kind of the rest was history. You got introduced to the right people and how to call them. But
That's awesome.
I think if you, yeah, I think it's just a matter of doing it and putting yourself out there. But writing has obviously quickly evolved to video, and that's where things are at right now.
Yeah. No, content, you make a great point because content is everything. Content is king. You've heard of that
Yeah, yeah,
multiple times, right?
yeah.
And as you know, I run a website development company in San Jose. And one of the things my customers at times ask for, because we don't do any of the content, meaning the copywriting for the website, we're just more the builders, right? We
Right, right.
develop the site on WordPress and we we get it launched, right? No matter if it's big or small. And one of the things is we're always, connecting some of our customers with writers. And it goes beyond just site pages. They end up doing blogs with them,
Oh
press
yeah. Oh
releases.
yeah.
Um, they end up doing just small little blurbs on their social channels, right? They start updating their social
Well, I mean,
channels.
once you establish kind of your company voice, whether that's just kind of through the home pages on your website, you want to keep that going forward.
Totally.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally. So now these writers are on a monthly retainer.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's great business for them. But yes, at the same time, I mean, I'm like thinking, wow, video and copywriting. You just mesh the two
They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand.
very much.
Yeah, and I think if you can write and and you're also comfortable being on camera, or you write and have someone else who's likes being up front, um, then you got content machine right there.
Yeah, you can embed your videos, post them on YouTube and embed your videos on your blogs.
Yeah,
It's a
from like an
great way.
SEO perspective too. I mean, I know for the longest time it was always said you can't rank organically for video outside of YouTube, obviously. So you always like embed like a transcript in the back and along with it. But I'd like to think that's changing. Uh,
Google's always changing.
it's no one knows for sure, but
No, when someone thinks they have a grip on it,
it's probably already, yeah, exactly.
they probably just came up with an algorithm change
Yeah.
as we're on this interview right now.
Well, that's the constant battle with SEO, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Right when you think you've got a handle of it, the next update comes out, and you're
Right.
back at the bottom again.
So, WeVideo, tell me a little what is WeVideo? What do they do? What differentiates them from other customers?
From other customers or providers?
Sorry, competitors.
Providers. Got it.
Yes, great
Uh,
catch.
so yeah, real. My kind of elevator pitch is WeVideo is a cloud-based video editing platform that makes it so you can get going editing video without downloading any software. Just type in your email and password, and you're ready to go. So it's great in the sense that if you're creating a lot of content, you don't need to be traveling with a huge hard drive full of all of your stuff. You don't need to have a huge monster PC to run the platform. And I think any video editor out there can attest the frustration of having your computer crash on you, or losing anything. Or I mean, I had a background in Adobe Premiere, which is solid, fantastic editor, but it's for anyone who's just starting video editing. It's
overwhelming.
There's so many buttons. What do you do? What does this do? And it's really hard to manage. WeVideo kind of simplifies all of that. Makes it a lot easier for someone to just get started editing, but giving you the free form capabilities that something like a Premiere or iMovie or Final Cut would offer, with your multiple timelines. And then you combine that with a million stock assets, video, music, images, and it's kind of like everything's packaged together in one place.
Nice. So it's pretty user friendly.
It is. I mean, I think it attests to the fact that a good percentage of our users are actually students in schools. So, I mean, we're very big in education with both teachers and students kind of learning to use video with WeVideo. Another big bonus is that because it's just access through Chrome browser, we're available on Chromebooks.
Nice.
So any student, so any student who, especially with schools where
That's big for schools, yeah.
Yeah, you might have 30 Chromebooks per classroom, and then that rotates for each class that comes in. Basically, all your stuff is saved to WeVideo, so you just sign in and you can pick up right where you left off.
Nice. What's your favorite feature in WeVideo?
Big fan of the green screen. always liked that, and I was kind of shocked when I first used it to find out that that feature was available in something like WeVideo, because I tend to think that's more an advanced capability for video editing.
Mm,
Um, the unlimited storage is a huge plus. Lately, I think probably one of the things that's
yeah,
most appealing to me is the ability to like speed up or slow down clips. Um, so you can, yeah, increase the speed of something up to 5 times what it was, or decrease it in the same direction.
interesting. I don't know a lot of video editing softwares or platforms that do that.
I mean, I think more of the, yeah, I mean, more of the advanced stuff that you would like download, I'm sure, but
Like a Premiere, right? Where
yeah,
they make Hollywood videos on that.
but I don't know any kind of other. I don't think you can do that on like a basic iMovie or any other free option there.
Yeah, very limited with
Yeah,
iMovie. Even with titles, you can't really move them around.
that was, yeah. So I mean, the motion. We also have like motion titles, which are kind of like created animation for you. So you just type in the text that you want it to say, and it'll
Oh, I love that.
really cool. And that, I used to have to do that in Premiere, and it would take me a long time to. I mean, you can, the
It's
world is,
time consuming. I mean, video editing is no joke. It's time consuming.
yeah. No, props to anyone who, uh, all the motion pictures and stuff, the time it takes to do all that.
Yeah. Even animation, right?
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Wow, that is crazy. So I like talking about the education part. You touched a little bit on that because, especially now, with this whole coronavirus age going on, um, a lot of teachers, a lot of students fully remote. Some schools are opening up, some schools don't feel comfortable with it. So I mentioned this before to my audience. Now more than ever, people are being forced to rely on the internet, right?
And yeah, video particularly. Or
Videos, everything right now.
yeah.
Exactly. We're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Now, for the business side, um, what features could you talk a little bit about the education and students for the business side? Who is that ideal customer for WeVideo on the business side?
Um, I always kind of probably picture like the small business, anywhere from like, I don't know, 1 to 60 people, where you're maybe still in that startup phase. Maybe you've been around for 5, 6 years, where you don't have the money or budget to put towards hiring a professional videographer.
Mm,
Um,
I see.
or, but you also need to realize, like, especially with now, like you said, with the pandemic, you need to be on all forms of social media, putting out video content.
Right.
Um, that's kind of the ideal person, where this is easy enough to pick up and learn on your own, but quality enough to export it and make it look like it was professionally done.
That's awesome. So if I'm a teacher or a student or, ed tech or director at a school, IT department, who knows? They probably don't have a huge department in schools, but or business, a small business owner, entrepreneur, or someone, maybe it's a one person department for marketing, right? And they're doing it all, right? If
Yeah,
I wanted to check it out or to look into the demo for WeVideo, where would I go?
got it. So yeah, wevideo.com. We do have a free plan, which kind of gives you very basic limited features. It also has the beloved watermark. Um, we also have a 14-day business trial, which you can find by going to wevideo.com and then our business tab. You'll find
Nice.
it there right below the hero. Um, and that gives you kind of the ability to use our stock media, full motion titles, the ability to change the format of your video. So if you're putting
Mhm.
something in square, vertical, or just horizontal, kind of the traditional formats.
Yes,
So if you're putting something on Instagram, you're gonna want that to be in square. Um, and WeVideo makes it really easy to do all three from the same piece of content. So you can,
just spits it out for you then.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So that's a great feature. Kind of getting a good feature set. Sorry, get good exposure to all the different variety of
Hmm.
use cases there. And then we have plans starting at the low as little as $5 a month. And we actually did just start a promotion for 30% off all annual plans. So I don't know.
That's
I don't
good
know
to
where this
know.
is going to go at. Um,
Yeah, that was my next question. When
might
does it
be,
expire?
yeah, it expires September 9th.
Okay,
So September 8th is the last day.
got you. Now, going back to digital marketing, as a digital marketing manager, how do you stay up to date with your industry? Because we were talking about SEO, just to rewind a little bit. And if you guys haven't heard about the conversation we've had about SEO, just hit rewind, go back 5-10 minutes, you'll see it. But how do you keep up to date? I mean, it's always
Uh,
changing.
yeah, I guess a variety a couple ways, and it's kind of just second nature at this point. But as far as resources, I highly encourage everyone to be on Medium. That kind of article, and
Yes.
I tailor my taste towards marketing stuff, as well as kind of like some workout fitness trends. Um, then I also have a Statista account, Statista, I don't know how you pronounce that. That's free as well, and that will give me basically daily just stats, and then you can pay for premium account, and that gives you access to more different things. But their daily email just kind of has random stats you never thought you would like to know, and then suddenly you're saying like, oh, how has video increased since the pandemic began? And that'll have the stats there. I also all the morning brew, which is great just for keeping up on current events, news and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, and then eMarketer is another good one that keeps me up with more of the marketing trends.
Nice.
And then just kind of scrolling through LinkedIn, seeing what other people post.
Nice. Yeah, LinkedIn has a ton of information out there as well. I'm curious, do you write on Medium?
I used to publish my stuff there a lot more when I was writing kind of weekly for my first job. Um, since then, not so much. I mean, I would post occasionally, but it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah. For the most part, I like upload all my content to LinkedIn.
Hmm.
That'd probably be my main outlet.
So to get your advice on this, and even though it's been a while, and just to get your thinking process,
Yeah, yeah.
if I have the content and I'm writing about digital marketing or maybe e-commerce websites or something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
Should I put it on LinkedIn article? Because they have an article section on LinkedIn, or should I post it on my website as a blog, or both?
I would start with the website. I would post it on your website as a blog, and then from there, I would, because the goal is to drive traffic to your blog.
Yes.
That's your owned media channel. So what I would do is I would publish it to your blog first, and then I would create a LinkedIn post with the link to that blog, and I would do that maybe once or twice in the 2 weeks following when you published it.
Hmm.
And then after it's been out for at least 2 weeks, that's when I would maybe consider putting it as a LinkedIn article.
Mm. And it would you post it like word for word?
No, usually what I've done is I post maybe, I mean, depends on how long the post is, but generally maybe like the first 3 paragraphs,
Mm.
depending on how long it is. If it's a really long thing, then maybe post the first 5 or 6.
More like a
Um,
sneak peek.
yeah, and then below that you have like you want to read the full article with the link to your website.
Awesome. Yeah. Because I know I've had some listeners that ask questions around that. Like, do I post on Medium? Do I post on LinkedIn under the article
So
section?
yeah, and Medium's a little trickier because they definitely don't like you leaving the site as much, especially with links like that. So when I used to do it on post on Medium, I would, instead of like the first 2 weeks, I'd wait more like the first 2 or 3 months and
Mm.
then full article out there in the hopes that if people did finally discover that article on Medium, they know where to come to find more, but at least they can read the whole article there.
Mm.
But again, the main goal is to not detract from that first few weeks of exposure when it's on your website and fresh,
Right.
because that's crucial for SEO, for views.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then for Medium, I mean, that's to the public, right? It's not in just in their system,
Yeah.
private, right? So if I Google search the title of the article that you posted on Medium, I should be able to pull it out without logging into Medium.
Correct. 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 Yeah, and they have. Uh, I mean, they kind of work. I think it's all through cookies. But if you create an account, you get like a limited number of premium articles
Right.
per month. But that's all cookied. So if you go
Right.
incognito with the same URL, then
Now I don't know this question. I mean, I don't know the answer to this question. Is does Google penalize if you have the same content written on different platforms?
I think technically yes, yes. Short answer, but I think if it's embedded on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
I think there's something they take into account with that. Um, but also timing is key. So if you do both at the same time, like two identical sources and it's the same content, I think Google will recognize that as a flag as opposed to, okay, this is a couple weeks later and this isn't the whole thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I mean that's a frequent, yeah, especially if it's like a web, if it's on two identical web pages, absolutely. But if we're talking one of those is on like Facebook or a social media channel,
Right.
then I think, yeah, again, we're all kind of estimating here, but
I know, right?
they
We
take
got to
that.
pull in a Google expert in this.
Yeah,
Again, they also change all the time. So it could be yes today, it could be no tomorrow.
yeah. But I think at this point, because I mean, that's how you share. So
Hmm.
I think that factors in.
No, it's totally. And then the biggest thing to emphasize with what you said, Max, was um, making sure that the traffic is going back to your website. That is critical.
Well, that's the biggest thing, and I mean, you can uh, any YouTube star, any TikTok star can attest. Is you're essentially on a rented channel. You don't own TikTok, so
Right.
you'd be getting, if you're getting a ton of views on YouTube and you're making your income primarily through YouTube, and if something were to happen to your YouTube account where you got blocked by YouTube for posting something, that's your livelihood. You're done.
Hmm.
YouTube has complete control. So your goal should always be to direct traffic back to a channel you own, like your
Hmm.
website.
Right.
So all of these kind of rented media channels like Facebook, your social media channels, that's all something that's you don't own. That should
Right.
be to drive back the traffic to the area that you do, where people can reliably go to your website.
Totally. No, that's really good advice right there, and a great point too. Um, so, last question that I have for you, and
Yeah,
and if you have any questions or if you want to say anything else, feel free. Um,
that's been fun. Oh
yeah, I'm having fun with this. Is for our listeners out there, do you have any career advice for those maybe just graduating college or about to graduate college and they're thinking, should I go into sales? Should I go into marketing? Um, and maybe those that are already marketing professionals and may aspire to become a digital marketing manager, director of marketing, VP of marketing, right? Anything in the marketing avenue. Do you have any advice on how they can take their marketing career to the next level?
right. Well, yeah, no, first of all, quick shout out to anybody who's just graduated college, high school, amidst this pandemic, because that has got to be just so
Yes.
tough. You're in a stage where you're already kind of
Hmm.
asking yourself, what's the next step? What do I do? And then having this thrown into the mix is just tough to navigate. But my probably biggest recommendation, and this helped me back when I graduated college in 2015, uh, is to learn a skill, learn a tangible skill that you can immediately take to any employer, and they can see the benefit of. Whether that's learning Photoshop, whether that's learning like how to build websites, learning WordPress. And great, I mean that's a relatively free area where you can start and just creating your own website, get some design experience, kind of learn the ins and outs. Um, And I mean, yeah, you had mentioned you use WordPress frequently. WordPress is like
Hmm.
30% of all, something insane, of all websites are made through WordPress.
Right.
So if you just get a bare bones understanding of that, chances are you can go to any company who has a blog uh, and quickly be running that within a week,
Hmm.
knowing how to manage edit posts. Um, I also would really recommend uh, HubSpot has a great variety of online courses that you can take that give you just a really good understanding of the fundamentals of kind of what they call inbound marketing, which is largely kind of what everyone does today.
Hmm.
And those are free as well. Um, but yeah, again, I would, especially during this time, and if you can't find a job in this market, now's a great time to just continue to build upon those skills. Google offers a ton of online resources as well to get trained in certifications in AdWords, Google Analytics. Those are all great areas where an employer will look at that, and regardless of whether that directly pertains to what you're going to do, they're going to see that on your resume and be like, they took the 20 hours it took to go through each one of these courses and
Totally.
certification. At the very least, that shows dedication. I'm like, okay, this is someone who's going to put in the effort, and this is someone who has admits and shows the ability that they can learn, and that's
Right.
really what they're looking for.
Right.
I
That's
think,
awesome.
yeah, every employer probably knows that they're not going to find, you're not necessarily going to find someone who knows everything, but what you want to find is someone who is still got an empty glass and willing to learn uh, and be trained.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really a great advice, Max. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no, happy to. And thank you for having me on. This has been really fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and sorry for, I don't know if the construction noise kind of came through in the back end, but
It's all gravy. We can actually take out the background noise with video
cool,
editing.
cool. Yeah, this is good.
That's the beauty of that. Um, but anyways, no, valuable information you shared. And yes, thanks for joining the show and joining me. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, you too. Would love to do this again, whenever, a couple of years from now. Uh,
Sure.
yeah, I hope the podcast kind of evolves and continue to do this maybe full time. But this has been great. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And we'll see where the next topic goes with digital marketing.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a great one. Okay.
Okay. Talk to you later.